I'd like to welcome everyone to our third NAC Ask Me Anything of the spring 2024 semester. My name is Susan Bogus, and I am an NAC member and the interim chair and AGC Endowed Chair Professor of Construction Engineering and Management at the University of New Mexico. And co-moderating with me is NAC member Burcin Becerik-Gerber. Burcin is a professor and department chair of the Astani Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Southern California. The themes for spring 2024 are focused on sustainability and resilience and the use of new technologies in construction. Just a little bit about the National Academy of Construction. NAC was established in 1999 to recognize our industry leaders. An important purpose of the Academy is to share the collective knowledge and experience of our members to improve the industry. We have established the NAC Ask Me Anything to help transfer knowledge of our members to our next generation of construction leaders, with this webinar providing a means to link past and present participants in the construction industry. Our Ask Me Anything sponsors this year are the University of Florida Rinker School of Construction, Arizona State University's Del E. Webb School of Construction, and the University of Colorado at Boulder Construction Engineering and Management Program. The format for Ask Me Anything is simple. Our speaker will make a short presentation about a topic and their perspective on the industry, followed by time to answer your questions. If you have not already, please email your questions to nacama@austin.utexas.edu. We've also put this address into the chat feature of the Zoom. One student will win a $500 scholarship, which we will announce at the end of this event. So now on to our speaker for tonight. Luciana Burdi is the Director of Capital Programs and Environmental Affairs for the Massachusetts Port Authority, also known as Massport. She holds a master's degree from the Istituto Universitario di Architettura di Venezia in Venice, Italy, and a doctorate from Harvard Graduate School of Design. She is responsible for the development, administration, and execution of the capital investment program for all Massport facilities, including Logan International Airport and other real estate properties. She is committed to creating a culture of continuous improvement and helping Massport become more data and technology driven. In 2019, Luciana received the Women in Design Award from the AIA Boston Society of Architects. The Construction Management Association of America has also recognized her with national honors, including the Chair's Innovation Award, Sustainability Award, and New Technologies, Techniques, and CM Award. She is an active member of the BSA and AGC. She also is a member of the National Institute of Building Sciences, BIM Program Steering Committee, the Northeastern University Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering Industrial Advisory Board, and a board member of the Lean Construction Institute. So let me welcome Luciana, and at this time, I'll turn it over to my co-moderator, Burcin, for questions.
I think we will have Luciana have a couple slides about her projects and herself. I'll let Luciana introduce her projects first, and then I'll pass to the questions.
Great, thank you, Burcin, and thank you, Susan, for this wonderful introduction. As mentioned, I've been working with Massport and for Massport for the past 12 years, and I'm very excited to be here. So please feel free to ask any question. I just have 5 slides just to introduce some of the work that we do. So the first is, what is Massport? So Massport is we own, manage, and operate 3 airports. So it's not only Logan, which is probably the one you are most familiar with, but we also own, manage, and operate Worcester Airport and Hanscom Field, which is 2 smaller regional airports. We also facilitate and manage the Conley terminal, so container terminal, and the cruise port. So we are a port authority, both airport and maritime. And finally, we manage some real estate in South Boston, East Boston, and Charlestown, which is basically around the waterfront of Boston. What's our department do? Just to give you some ideas. As you heard earlier, I really look at, because of my quote-unquote lean mindset, I look at value streams. So the way our department, it's made by architects, engineers, construction managers, environmental team, utility team, let's see who else, the design technology integration. So where do we provide value? And I call it the 4+1 value stream. So the first one is we develop actually the capital improvement plans, the capital investment plans for the entire authority. That's one of our pillars. The second one, we do programming, design, and construction. So we are the department that delivers any project that needs to be construction project, design and construction project for the authority. We also lead the net zero by 2031 effort in every environmental sustainability resiliency for the entire Port Authority. And finally, we provide support to the technology integration. It's critical in our industry that we look at how we integrate in technology with our process. But if we do all of this independently, we'll just remain into quote unquote the silo. So what is critical, and that's where the lean thinking comes, is the performance optimization and excellence piece. So I have a team that is focusing only of seeing how these 4 pillars become integrated with everything that we deliver. So you can see the vision and the mission there as well. So one project that I want to, I just want to stop for one project is the Terminal E modernization, which we completed August 15. We actually opened the additional 4 gates for this terminal. It's our international terminal. Just to give you some number, we have pre-COVID, we had 42.5 million passengers just at Logan. Currently, we are roughly 32. So we are below still pre-COVID, but the Terminal E, which is the international, we had 8 million passengers a year, and we're passing the pre-2019. So we are seeing a different, people are traveling more international than domestic, which is reflected to the fact that people do, because of Zoom, you don't have to work, and the domestic travel has been diminished. We also went from pre-COVID, 60% of our load was domestic and 40% was leisure. It was business, 60% was business and 40% was leisure. Now it's completely the opposite. We have 60% is leisure, travel, and 40% is business. So we opened this fantastic 350,000 square feet expansion of the terminal. It received in August, the official opening, a grand celebration was during the 100-year anniversary of Logan, which happened in October. And we were able to received one of was the Terminal of the Year award. But something that relates to what you guys are doing at school, it's how did we use the technology? So this project, I'm not going to go through it, sorry. So you'll see just the end. So you can see from the modeling, the top left image, the project, all the way to the bottom, that's the entirety of the project. Was fully, we are a model first approach. So it was fully 3D model, it was modeled in Revit. The trades, use the Revit model, and you can see actually the image on the left is the steel fabricator. Was a very, there is no one curve of the building that is the same. So it was done in 3D model, no one piece, it's similar to another one. This is sometimes the challenge of architects, and I'm one of this. So we have to try to make it as difficult, but ultimately the building is just beautiful. So we use technology, we use drones for inspections, we use robot to lay down the terrazzo, and we really used the technology to the full extent to be able to succeed in this project, which it came on budget, on time, even through the challenges and difficult time of COVID. So this was just a quick introduction of what we do. That's my email address in case any of you wants to reach out separately after this. So Burcin, I'll stop sharing so we can all look, and so I'll be more than happy to answer any question. Oh, and the one you see behind me, this is a project that we completed. It's actually a music exhibit we completed last summer, not 2023, 2022.
Great, Luciana, thank you so much for that great introduction. I also learned a lot about your recent projects. And it's great that you mentioned some of the technologies used in the project. So I will then start with that question, just to follow the flow. So I have a question here from Neda Gamari, and her question is, how do you plan to use technologies like BIM to improve sustainability and efficiency in infrastructure projects at Massport?
So thank you for the question. We are a fully integrated BIM. There is no project that is happening in Massport that is not using BIM. So we are using BIM similarly to what we are using it for resiliency as well. So it's critical when we start the project, we have a project success plan. It's a process that we use when we want to implement technologies, and we try to identify you're all familiar with BIM uses, right? We have BIM guidelines that were put in place in 2014, and you can find them on our website. And we are actually updating them right now to become more VDC. But through the process, we basically try to understand, we can do energy modeling. We can do, for this project, we used to evaluate sound because the design of the building needed to be used as a sound barrier with the community. And so we're trying to look at, and in reality, if we were not able to do the 3D modeling, it would have been much harder. So we are pushing, obviously we need to work with the consultant. Item number one, we need to work with the consultant and know how to use Revit. It's part of our RFQ when we select them. And two, we need to know what questions to ask. So the energy modeling is one of the BIM uses, and every time we are evaluating it we are using the technology to evaluate when an energy modeling is required in our projects.
Great. So I ask about BIM, and I think this is a natural follow-up question. Zahra Gorbani is asking this question. Do you envision Massport using digital twins for operations?
Yes, actually, we are in the process of developing a digital twin. So we are, at the same time that we're requiring 3D modeling, we are also doing what we call the MICA, is Massport Infrastructure Condition Assessment. So we are evaluating every project, every building that we have more than 180 buildings, and every utilities. So we are collecting this information and we're putting it in a database. We are actually using also Tableau and a bunch of other technology behind the scene. At the same time, we hired a consultant to update all. We have quite a few. So Terminal A we don't have a BIM model for Terminal A. Terminal B, we have 4 terminals. We have A, B, C, and E. I know we're missing a D, but that happens at Massport. So we have a model of Terminal B because we did a project. We are developing a model for Terminal C. We do have a model for Terminal E. We just got it. And we are just missing Terminal A. So What we are taking the data piece from the MICA evaluation. We are deploying consultant to do a laser scanning of all our facilities so that we can then take the 3D model and link the data for ultimately the future of the digital twin. In reality, I don't think this is going to happen the next, probably it's going to happen 5 to 7 years because it's a lot of information. And something that I haven't got an answer yet is if the hardware is going to be powerful enough to have all these models together. So we're working with Autodesk to see ACC and see how we can connect all this modeling. And so, because digital twin, it's not only the physical model, but also the data, the information. And something else that we are evaluating is once we get this model, how do we keep updating it? Because the worst things we could do is get a model of today and then not having a workflow that updated when changes happens. Burcin, tell me if I speak too long or too short, if you have too many questions.
You are perfect. And I think you might have answered this question. Muaz Alka-Lavi is asking, within what stage of the project do you implement the digital twin technology?
So we start again, we are model first approach. So we start developing them since I'm battling with my consultant. I want to start from the beginning. They're using a lot of SketchUp, which is just during the programming phase. But definitely, as soon as we are done with the programming, as soon as the study is defined what we're going to build, they go into BIM. The discussions about digital model the digital twin happen throughout the process, but it's really once we get to construction is that we start to understand better. Our procurement, it's a little complicated. So whatever its design is put out to bid, even if we use CMA risk, but we have to select for the major trade like HVAC, the lowest bidder. The lowest bidder could propose a different route for the pipe, and we have to quote unquote stay with what they propose. So oftentimes we do have we are actually asking the major trade, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, to give us a model as well, a trade model. And so we are trying to link the design model with the trade model. Now, if you look at the digital twin, all this level of detail, it's not really needed because the digital twin, it's more linked to operation and maintenance. So when we talk about commissioning at the beginning, so that's where the commissioning comes into play. And then ideally the commissioning piece gets into the LOD of a model. It's not the LOD 300 that, the contractor needs, the Suffolk need to build that, right? The operational information is very different. So depends on what type of digital twin we want to implement, the information gets collected throughout. And in the VDC guideline, we are implementing workflows to specifically identify what information is to be added by when.
Great. We've been talking a lot about technology, so I think the next question from Neil Patel is a good one. With the rapid integration of AI, IoT, robotics, digital twins, advanced simulation techniques in construction, what do you see as the principal barriers hindering their broader adoption?
And to be honest, I think people are going to be the biggest problem. is going to be the pushback. Our industry is a very reluctant to change industry. We are very comfortable with what we have done for a long time. Sorry, my computer wanted to restart. I had to pause it. So the AI is going to change the way we do business. And what I think we have to do is we have to embrace it and understand how to work with it What I think is going to happen, so that's where I need all your bright young mind to help out here. What I think is going to happen is that the old mind, like probably mine compared to your age, is going to say, we've done it, which is exactly the same things that happened in BIM when I started to implement 2004. Burcin, do you remember? So, we have always done it. Where is the value? We have built it for so long without BIM. Why do we need BIM? So it's going to be a very similar approach. So patience, perseverance, and continuing to push it is going to be critical. It's going to be critical by all of you, who's going to be the next generations of leader in our industry. So please do that for us.
Great answer. I can see the same movie actually being played.
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you. So the next question is also related to technology. Hoda is asking this question. What role does artificial intelligence play in enhancing sustainability and resilience of construction projects? And are there any notable projects where AI has made a significant impact?
So we have not had any project yet in which AI has helped really developing strategic ideas for the sustainability of or environmental. What my goal is, what my hope is that we do have a net zero goal by 2031. And I hope we can use the learning of the past 2 years and probably the next couple of years to really bring in everyone knowledge. Ultimately, again, in 5-7 years from now, AI is going to be so integrated that you can see a lot of AI tools now that you're saying, okay, I want a house with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, slate roof or whatever, and they come up with options and alternatives, right? What I think is going to happen is that on this, we're going to say, I want a house that uses this sustainable element. So in my dream world, we'll be able to communicate, please put this in quote, with the AI, will be able to elaborate in our way on what we are looking for. And AI, which will really change the way architects do their job. AI will provide options, alternative, and then we take it and will develop. I don't think AI will never, ever eliminate us or eliminate the architects, but they could, looking about lean, they could expedite so much. They could give us some ideas. It's like generative design, right? We have some generative design. I remember looking at some building that came out from pure generative design. It's put math calculations, put it together to be able to, and they were coming up with this fascinating building design, right? So similarly, instead of we will put, instead of numbers, we'll tell them what we would like the building to give it to us, and then we'll work quote unquote together with the AI to then ultimately do better buildings. I think I'm very hopeful into the integration, the connectivity, the connection between human and AI interaction.
That's great. That puts a lot of responsibility on both the user side and the developer side
Yes.
of AI.
Yeah.
So you mentioned architects will never, they will always be needed, so will never lose their jobs. Rami here is asking a similar question. From your experience, where should construction experts and scholars draw the trade-off line between adopting advanced technologies in construction, including those of AI, and the negative consequences that might occur regarding layoffs in staff personnel and workers?
I think what's going to happen is reskilling. Again, I don't think, number one, there is a huge shortage of staffing. I'm looking for mechanical engineer. I can't find anyone. I have so many open positions. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, I do not think it will be eliminated. I think what we will do, what we architect do, and we engineer do day to day will be different. And I'm hopeful that we will, our work is often very tedious. I'm not sure who really likes drawings, delivering sheets that you have to bid, doing specifications. Those are all things that AI could do very quickly. And right. And so that means that instead of spending time looking at writing specification, you can spend time designing a project, right? So I think that the project delivery will be accelerated. So instead of doing an engineer, an architect doing a project a year, they might be able to do 2 projects a year, because all the quote unquote time wasted doing these non-value added activities that AI will do for us will allow us to focus on what our creative and what we enjoy doing, right? And I hope that's a good answer.
I like it. I like it. And moving more towards energy, sustainability, resilience goals, Mohammed Ahmed is asking, are there contingency plans in place to address unforeseen challenges or changes in project scope that may impact sustainability and resilience goals?
So every project has quote unquote value engineering or devalue engineering. I think it's the role of a leader. I've seen a lot of projects in which when something had to be eliminated, oh, what do we do? Those are the easy things to eliminate to reduce cost. I think it's the role of the leader in the organization, so the director or someone in my position, or that says, if we have to, let's relook at it holistically, and let's make sure that that the value that we put in the net zero sustainability or resiliency of our infrastructure is maintained throughout. So it is. And I have there was a project, there was this Terminal E project. I became director in 2000, when was it, 2020, just soon after COVID hit. The project started in 2017, 2019, we had some challenges with the cost. And all the sustainable elements were eliminated, and we ended up going with the LEED Silver. First things I did when I came on board, I'm like, guess what, guys? Sorry, we already start construction. It was LEED Gold. We cannot build a building of this magnitude and do LEED Gold. So we looked into displacement ventilation, which is the first time that we have done it. We do LEED Gold. Someone is telling me, whispering that we might even get platinum, but I can't say it, but I'm still doing gold, you know. But it is, again, it's the leadership, because guess what? They're doing it, so that means it can be done. And so we need to be, if we truly believe in anything that, you know, can be sustainability, can be efficiency, doesn't hurt to speak up, to politely make your opinion, and hopefully a good leader will listen to you.
Great. And then following the same lines of sustainability, so David Abiola has a question. What are some cutting-edge building materials or techniques that support industry sustainability? How may construction procedures be made more environmental friendly to lessen their impact?
So we rely heavily on our consultant to recommend. As we are designing a project. I can give a couple of examples. We are designing a garage, and because of our net zero, the first things that came, the first recommendation they come, let's put solar on the roof. I'm like, great. I'm like, okay, that's a simple answer. I said, I could even come up with that answer, guys. So I said, I need better. I need something more innovative. So a couple of weeks later, they came back with me with something that I was fascinated. They found in North Europe It's a company that does panels that they are actually can be put on the facade. No building has done this in the United States, none. Obviously, North Europe, it's always a little more advanced in sustainability. So they found, so we are now looking into this. Obviously, it's going to be a challenge, try to understand it. But I showed it to, my husband is an architect too, when I showed the building. I said, do you like this building? He said, oh, that's fascinating. I said, you know, the entire facade is solar panels. I need to find it. I'll send it to you guys. I don't have it in front of me, but it's so fascinating. They don't look like solar panels, but they are solar panels. Because I think if we push the creativity, we'll get both architecture. Sometimes they're saying, oh, if you do technology, you don't get creativity. If you do environmental things, you don't get creativity. I don't think so. I think as much as we push the envelope, we can get both. So we are now asking these people to come and present the information to us. You need to be open to learn. I know you're all students, so you're all love to learn. But me and Burcin, and I'm sure Susan as well, because we, I love academia. I'm not in it, but I still love it. You have to, even if you're in the business, even if you end up going after you're done with school into an office, never stop learning. There is always something new that you can learn every day. And my father told me, he was an engineer, and I'll tell my kids, it is, and any little things can make a big difference. So, but the consultant came to me, and what I did, I pushed them to look for something different, and they did. So that's his one. The other one is 2021, we finished a canopy. The canopy was ETFE, which is a new material we never used. I think there is only one other canopy in the United States with that material, much lighter, reduction in tracking. It's a huge reduction. We put some solar panel on it. So it's but again, just be open to understand it. Again, it was the first time we ever done it in the United States. They use this ETFE material in I think it was a warm place. So people are like, oh, the weather in New England is cold. And so we end up finding something in London, which is probably the same, not nice weather like we do. And we implemented it, is great. And ultimately, reduce tracking, reduce greenhouse gases emission. And so it's every little project can find something. They rely on your consultant, but ask the consultant to look for it. Otherwise, they won't look.
That's a great answer. And I liked your answer about learning. I think those are the days that I go home and say, oh, I learned something today. It was a great day.
Those are the good days, right?
Yes.
Me too. I come back, I was like, wow, I learned something today.
Changing topics a little bit towards more project delivery methods. Derek Shum is asking, how often alternative project delivery methods are used, such as design build, construction manager at risk, integrated design build, etc.?
So we have a state limitation. I'm sorry, you're not going to like this answer. So for any project that Massachusetts, in any state agency in Massachusetts, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, does that is below $5 million, we have to do design bid build. Anything that is more than 5 million, we can do CMA risk. We by law cannot do design build except for horizontal projects. So our law, it's split between vertical, like building, and horizontal, like runway, roadways. So we are doing design build, but just for horizontal projects. For us to make change, it took 10 years to change from design bid build to CMA risk. Just last week, I was advocating with another state agency that led the previous shift. The commissioner said, oh, great, Luciana, you want to do it, you go start, because it really needs to have, has to be a strong support, which I think, I would love to do progressive design build, which is not allowable in Massachusetts. What I do, I try to go around. So I take a lot of the progressive design built ideas, and I incorporate it in my contract, in the CMA risk contract. So if you read my contracts, they're filled with lean, with VDC. Those are all, I'm buying, let's put it that way, the collaboration. So I try to be creative on how I can use my CMA risk, but get the benefit of the design built.
I like that workaround.
Sometimes we have to.
Carlos Medeiros has a question. How do you create and implement the logistics to build your projects like airports? What do you take into consideration?
So communication is critical. In aviation and in an airport, every project has a lot of agencies involved. So it's us, right? Massport, and even within Massport, we can have capital program, IT, operation, facility. Those are all different buckets. So we need to collaborate. But then for Terminal E, you have the airlines. So you talk, airlines means multiple airlines. So Terminal E is where so we have Terminal A, for example, it's all Delta. So when we do work with Terminal A, we only have to coordinate with Delta. When we do Terminal E, it's every international airline. We don't have to ask their permission, but when we close a gate, when we open a gate, when we have to do design, when we have to do construction in a campus that is open 24 hours a day, 365 days, we were open during COVID, we have to involve, we have CBP, Customs and Border Protection when we work in Terminal E, TSA, FAA, right? All these agencies. We also have GTU, the Ground Transportation Unit, buses. So communication is a fundamental piece. I tell my manager it's better to over-communicate than under-communicate and have your project stopped. So logistics is, I have 3 people that are fully dedicated, and they're basically working with operation to make sure, because sometimes, you know, we did a closure, a runway closure over the summer. It was a 60-day closure. It was the longest runway Massport has. Was closed for 60 days. People were working 24/7 continuously. So we had multiple shifts because we need to reduce the closure of the runway. We had to work with FAA and with the airline because that's the only runway that can handle larger planes. So we had to tell the airline during the 60 days period, you cannot have land the A380. So they had to change the whole schedule of the old planes to accommodate. So obviously travelers do not understand that that's happening, which is fine, you don't have to. But the collaboration that needs to happen logistically, not only from the construction, but how construction really trickles down in what type of plane, Lufthansa has to use during the 60 days. It gets to almost madness, but we have to look into it because if a plane comes in, we have a runway closed, it's going to be a challenge.
That's very interesting.
Fascinating. Yeah.
I haven't.
That's why I love it, because it's so complex. And what I love of my job is that hopefully people don't realize that there is this complexity, right?
Yes, that means you've been successful. So, okay, we have 5 minutes left, and I have 2 great questions I think I'm going to end with here. Oluwatobi Osilaha is asking this question. What strategies or approaches do you believe have been most instrumental in fostering innovation, sustainability, and a culture of continuous improvement within your leadership role in infrastructure projects?
I think it's going back to the question about learning. To the point about learning. I think it's my brain works in the way that I always look to improve, to continuously improve. How can we do better what we do? And I'm not happy when I think we owe to anyone to try to do better. Not every time we'll achieve, but we have to try to do better every time. So it's my mindset. I think it's the more you learn. I'm getting very frustrated when I see waste. It's like, oh, I get so I guess that frustration pushes me to look to do better. But on the other hand, I allow my manager and my staff to develop I don't micromanage. So I tell them, go try, and if it doesn't work, fine, as much as you learn. I don't think there are failures in life. There are, if you see a failure like as an opportunity of learning, it's not a failure because you're learning, you're not going to do it again. So it's a very different mindset. I don't know how to change the mindset of other people, though. Can't, you ask questions and you just, ultimately, I think it's, you get better results, but
I like that.
If that answered the question, Burcin.
I think it did. Anne-Marie Michaels is asking, can you share a pivotal moment or project in your career that significantly impacted your professional trajectory? Okay,
sure. It's a project that is now with Massport. It was a project at DCAM. DCAM is a division of capital asset management and maintenance. That is the state I was, before being in Massport, I was at DCAM. And at DCAM, I was assigned the project, a female correctional facility. I worked before I get assigned that specific project. I worked on the master plan. So I visited every correctional facility in the Commonwealth. And at the beginning, I thought it was a punishment, right? Who wants to work on prisons? Nobody, right? I actually love the project for many, many reasons. One, my mother was a physical education teacher, and to me, dedicating to doing the projects that impact people that are less fortunate than us. It's great. So in the correctional facility world, in case you really want to get an education, the females are more quote unquote discriminated because there are less. So there are less programs. The facilities are less quote unquote nicer. People give less interest. And also, if you look at research, if there is a male in prison, the woman go visit. If there is a woman in prison, the man doesn't go visit her. So they have some psychological. So I realized that dedicating my time to a facility that probably nobody wants it, it's a good thing for I love doing things for people that are less fortunate. So if I could make change for one of these women, was a positive for me. So, in my project, you see that in the Terminal E, we did the first sensory room. Massport never had a sensory room. Those are for children within the spectrum or for mid-adult within the spectrum of autism. Again, it's always look for accommodate those that they're not the usual travelers, right? The other things that allowed me is the project was not a big project. It was a $25 million project. It was a CMR risk. And I had the ability to test a lot of the things that made me propel to a better position. So I was able to, there was a full BIM project. We're talking about 2009, was our first lean project. And by having the ability to actually build this project, allowed me to become the deputy director at that time at Massport. So ultimately, they also, something that to me is important, I still talk with a lot of the facility manager of that correctional facility. We go out for dinner. He tells you that the impact of a project at the beginning seems like punishment. It gave me the opportunity to be where I am right now.
That's great, and also it's a great example, something that you wouldn't want turning out to be not you, but in general, less desired type of turning out to be a gem, right? A life-changing type of project.
Yeah.
Luciana, it was amazing talking with you. As I told you yesterday, those 45 minutes fly by.
They do. Oh my God, I was looking at the time. I was like,
they fly by.
I hope it was helpful for the students.
That was fantastic, and what a great way of actually celebrating Women in Construction.
Women in Construction Week, yes.
By having you as our guest speaker. So we have a winner. As Susan mentioned at the beginning, every webinar, one of the students is chosen for a $500 scholarship, and that person is Neil Patel from Rutgers University.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Neil. So before we say goodnight, I would like to thank you, Luciana, very much for this really candid and pleasant conversation and sharing your experience and expertise with us. We also would like to thank our sponsors, University of Florida Rinker School of Construction, Arizona State University Del Webb School of Construction, and University of Colorado Boulder Construction Engineering and Management. And we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar on April 2nd. Thank you so much.
Again. Thank you, Susan.
It was wonderful seeing you.
It was great seeing you too and sharing my experience with you guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.